Hey Nerdgenic Nation, and welcome to History Of. I'm your host and resident superhero nerd Aaron Waller, and this is the series where we do a deep dive into various comic book characters, both heroes and villains, and give a little bit more insight as to who they are and why they do what they do. And in today's video, we're talking about DC's very magical character who not only uses her powers for saving the world, but also to entertain the masses, and that's Zatanna. Zatanna was created by Gardner Fox and Murphy Anderson and first appeared in Hawkman number 4 in 1964. Born Zatanna Zatara, her mother supposedly died during childbirth, but would later learn that she faked her death to return to her people, the Homo Magi, which is a mystical species with the ability to manipulate magic and cosmic forces. And her father also happened to be a magician who raised her in a small house in New York, not too far from Arkham Asylum, a truly magical place to grow up. But she was also the descendant of various artists, magicians, and historical figures, from Leonardo da Vinci to Nicholas Flamel all the way up to Nostradamus. Zatanna would go on to become a successful stage illusionist before discovering her magical abilities while investigating the disappearance of her father. She would seek help from various heroes including Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Atom, Green Lantern, and the Elongated Man. She would eventually track down her father and went back to her stage career, not long after which she would meet other DC heroes and even help the Justice League of America a few times before being recruited by them. In fact, her first mission as a member of the JLA was to investigate her mother's true identity. As I mentioned, she would learn that her mother was still alive, but she had been abducted by her own people and taken to a secret city to which she was reaching out to Zatanna for help magically. She would, however, sadly die when saving Zatanna from suffering a similar fate as herself. And after Crisis on Infinite Earths, she would go back to trying to balance being a hero and her stage career before the Great Darkness was perceived by John Constantine, her ex-boyfriend. He would ask Zatanna and her father for some help with a seance to help stop the Great Darkness. Her father would perish, however, during the fight, and this would haunt her as he had sacrificed himself in order to save Zatanna during the battle. One of Zatanna's biggest actions in the DC universe, however, also happens to be one of DC's darkest stories, Identity Crisis, in which she tampers with the villain Dr. Light's mind after he breaks into the Justice League headquarters and does some pretty heinous things. A vote is cast to help make him forget what he did, but Batman shows up while she's doing it, and this would further spark a dark chain of her mind wiping a lot of characters and eventually leaving the Justice League because of all the guilt. After this, she would have a pretty difficult relationship with Batman, but the two would grow close and have an on-again, off-again relationship, and Batman would say that Zatanna is one of the few that he can actually trust before the two actually end up deciding to only be friends. Which is probably a good idea considering Batman's dating history. She would later become a member of the Sentinels of Magic and write a hugely successful book called Hexappeal: The Modern Girl's Guide to Magic. She would also act as a reserve member of the Justice League, aiding them from time to time when her magical expertise was needed. She did decline an offer for full membership, stating that she needed to take a break from heroics, though she does remain a regular guardian against mystical threats. Now, Zatanna has made several appearances outside of the comics, including being a DLC character in Injustice: Gods Among Us, as well as in Injustice 2, also being in several other LEGO Batman games, and even more. But Zatanna has been seen the most in the DC animated universe. She's been in Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Brave and the Bold, Young Justice, and has been in several animated films like the Justice League Dark films. And she was supposed to be, or at least was rumored to be, in several live action projects, but never really came to fruition. But a live action Zatanna film is currently in development, though not much is known about it at this time, or even if it'll see the light of day. Now, in terms of powers and abilities, Zatanna is considered to be one of the most powerful magicians in the DC universe. She has expert level knowledge and endless spells at her disposal, as well as being a skilled illusionist, but the majority of her powers come from being able to cast spells by speaking backwards. So for example, if she wanted something to float, she would say Talof. She also has various other magic related abilities, including teleportation, healing, manipulation of the mind, and basically can do anything with the mastery over magic. And now for my favorite segment here on History Of, the recommended reading, where I give you some comics where you can find out a little bit more about this character and see Zatanna in action. First up, we have Seven Soldiers Zatanna. It's a great series of Zatanna trying to figure out and balance her heroing and stage persona and going on a journey to find her father's lost magical journals. Up next, we have Black Canary and Zatanna Bloodspell. This is a team-up book that kind of harkens to a teenage audience, but it's still pretty good and I definitely recommend checking it out. Next, we have Mystic U, which sees an alternate college-age Zatanna at a school for magical users, which includes a lot of other DC characters and is actually kind of a fun read if you're into that kind of thing. But probably the creme de la creme, or at least in my book, is Zatanna by Paul Dini. It's definitely the most focused on Zatanna, but has plenty of awesome fights, demons, and DC character cameos for days. So those are some of the major things you need to know about Zatanna. Was there anything in this video you may not have known otherwise? Let me know down in the comments section down below, and also leave me a suggestion as to any other characters you would like to see on this series. In fact, Zatanna was a user suggested character, and thus we made the video, so the process works. But also, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos from me or the rest of the Nerdgenic team. And also give us a like and follow across all social media platforms at Nerdgenic. That way you don't miss out on any special news, announcements, or articles at nerdgenic.com. But in the meantime, if you want even more video content from us, check out these videos on screen, like my recent video talking about the Black Adam trailer and my biggest takeaways from it right over here, or check out some more characters from the History of playlist right over here, which has a new episode every single Saturday. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you in the next video.